Welcome back to Gothic Homemaking as we continue our Halloween home decor hunting of the season. Recently, many of you have been writing to me, completely freaking out about Michael's new Halloween line, telling me that it features mostly pink and pastel colors. One of you even wrote, "It's like Easter eggs have taken over Halloween." It's an inside joke. Terrible. In any case, I have to tell you, when it comes to Goths and pastels, it's actually not a new thing. Many of you may remember my friends, Adora BatBrat and Victoria Lovelace. They appear in episode 5, Wardrobe of the Damned Part 1. They live in Sweden and have an amazing look that incorporates a lot of pastel colors, and they always look great. She's married, fool! In any case, back to the point. Pastel Goth definitely appeals to some people. However, am I ready for a pink Halloween? Absolutely not. But I've learned the hard way not to judge something until I've seen and experienced it for myself. So to that end, I went in search of Michael's pink Halloween items, and along the way, discovered all of their best offerings for this year. Take a look. Michael's inspires the artists in all of us, including apparently some idiot who chose to express himself on their wall. Upon entering, I first encountered the miniatures section. Those who watch the show know that I'm always buying tombstone miniatures for some giant graveyard model I hope to make someday. This year was no exception. There are some real treasures this year in that section, like this spooky train, and this creepy tree, a light-up haunted house, and really all kinds of weird and wonderful pieces, including this creepy carnival. What treasures of your own could you display in these incredible globes? I have no idea what this metal fence is for, but I know I'm buying it. They have jars of decorating filler, which I was delighted to discover are actually tiny bats. I found the fall section, and directly next door were all of those fake animal skeletons we've grown accustomed to seeing around Halloween. I have some real skeletons, but these are a nice vegan option for those who do not wish to own taxidermy. And just beyond the bones was full-blown Halloween. Michael's has a very strong line of classic macabre offerings this year, including several items making a comeback from last year, like this skeleton on the toilet, these crows, and these bat and raven wing dishes are back, except I noticed they have some gold dry brushing this year. Also back are many of the vessels from last year, but they still have lids you can't remove. These were big favorites of mine from years past, but to be honest, if I can't take off the lids, then they're kind of useless for my purposes. They did, however, have many new vessels, and those did have removable tops. Rejoice! These tins are also back from last year. I found them in the vintage Halloween section for those who enjoy old-timey Halloween. But my favorite new vessels this year are these functional jars with removable lids. These skull and bat toppers take me to my happy place, which is finding things that are simultaneously useful and spooky. I'm useful and spooky. Oh yeah, well you're toothless and droopy. Don't drag me down to your level. Just watch the damn episode. Speaking of useful and spooky, I found this resin chest. I've been looking for a place to put my jewelry when I return to the lair, and while this isn't my color scheme, I can easily take it outside and paint it black. So, that's a must-have.
Hey, I had dibs on that.
I also always pick up these tiny skulls to use in my DIY projects, as well as these candle holders that always come in handy around the lair. One of my favorite new items is this metal candelabra. I'll definitely be taking that back to my web. I was also entranced by this hourglass with a gorgeous bat motif. Speaking of bats, I believe this lovely fellow is a resculpt of a figure I bought last year, but modeled into a different species. And fans of Little Shop of Horrors are going to die for these man-eating plants. They're made of metal, so they're quite solid. There are plenty of new skeletal offerings, including this clock, this cameo, these votive candle holders, and I truly appreciate the sculpting on this bathing skeleton. But quite literally, the only pink item I found in the whole store was this tiny pink pillow. What gives? Needless to say, I was a bit perplexed that I didn't see any of the infamous pink items, so I ventured to another Michaels location, Uptown. Take a look. I was first greeted by the vintage Halloween section. Michaels seems to be taking Spirit Halloween's lead on the whole Hocus Pocus theme, but not relating directly to the film. They had even more new vessels at this location. And do the lids come off? You betcha. In general, it seems they're really moving toward offering functional jars, tins, and bottles. I'm gonna lie to myself that it's because they watch my show, just to make myself feel better. They also have an excellent cauldron I could use in my kitchen, but unfortunately the orange would clash with my present color scheme. Overall, they had a lot of the same items I found at the downtown location, with a few extra surprises. Like apparently the gentleman skeleton on the cameo has a mate, and I didn't see these decorative bottles downtown. And while I had seen this item, I hadn't noticed how wonderfully creepy those darkened fingers are. Also at this location, I found these black artificial floral pieces, and they instantly inspired a new Gothic homemaking project. It's called a widow's bouquet, and you'll be seeing it on the channel in a few weeks. Another favorite I found at this location were these coffins, and if you think they're functional, you'd be dead right. Speaking of coffins, I picked up these miniature ones for my model, as well as these cemetery gates and more tombstones because I have no self-control. Once again, I found none of the pink or pastel items, to the point where I was starting to think I was being punked. I really thought this must be some kind of internet prank. But then, a young lady who follows me on Instagram told me that she found the pink stuff at a location in Astoria, Queens, and she said they're not in the Halloween section. I was intrigued, and so I took a 1-hour subway ride out to that location. I arrived at the Astoria Queens Michaels and went straight to the Halloween floral section to amass more pieces for my widow's bouquet project. Now would be the time to pick up wispy black floral pieces if you want to play along in a couple of weeks when that airs. In that section, I did indeed find some pink items like this pink sequin spider, this pink rose on a branch, and this skeleton hand with black and pink flowers. I also did find the infamous pink Halloween items, but first there's something I just have to show you. This location had a whole other collection of items I hadn't seen at the other locations, and they were in a color scheme that was black, purple, and green. That scheme is so particular that I'll be damned if they didn't get inspired by this home that's featured in a Facebook group I belong to called Gothic Home Decor Enthusiasts. I'll admit that I wouldn't add the green in my home, but it's nonetheless extremely successful. These items look amazing. Just look at this gorgeous Gothic stained glass window. In this section, there was no shortage of well-sculpted crows and skulls, and it was all in this black, purple, and green color scheme. There were cushions and art prints and more skulls. There was also a mirror and a cauldron and these gemstone lamps. With these lucky crystals on our side, what could go wrong? The opposing aisle was empty. Is there still more to come? One thing's for sure, if you venture into this pastel shabby chic section, you will be welcome to a pastel spooky wonderland next door. This line, which features pinks, pastels, and black, revolves around themes of romance and death, like these newlyweds saying, "Till death do us part," and this guy thinking,
That can be arranged.
There are pink glittery skulls and pink charger plates, and this section had the best welcome sign I've seen so far this season. There are beautiful poison bottles and, well, I guess that couple sailed off into the sunset after all, leaving in their wake a line of pastel macabre offerings. There are apparently many more items in this line that just weren't in this store, but you can find them on Michaels' website. So it's apparently true, Michaels has in fact created a line of spooky pink and pastel items. So if you're one of my friends who's into the pastel goth look, now's the time to pounce. But I find it very interesting that they keep it in its own section, and they have so many other things in more traditional Halloween color schemes that I think there's no reason to believe that everybody is going to have a pink Halloween. It's a big planet, and there's enough room for everybody, especially on Halloween. Shut up. Shut your mouth. Shut it. Thank you for watching. See you here next time on Gothic Homemaking.